Good evening, everyone. William in here, 1799. For all you patriots, tyrants, and Americans out there. I was going to read some notes, but you know what? I'm not going to do this by the notes. Look. Democracy. We hear so much about it, right? The Democrats are worried that the MAGA is going to destroy democracy. And then you hear the far left screaming and jumping up and down, we need to lock up Donald Trump, take away his protection so he gets killed. That's fine. That's what they're saying. And the thing here is why? Why? Putin has never lost an election. We know that, right? Everyone who's ran against him has either been imprisoned or been murdered or ruined, one way or the other, all three. Which prompted me to look at this a little differently. Maybe you should look at it the same way I do. I'm going to speak of it as the way I can understand this. I hope you can understand it the same way. When they speak of this democracy, democracy is based on people coming to the election polling places. They cast their vote for the person they want to run, for their party or for what they want to believe in. Some people are Democrats, some are Republicans, some vote Republicans, some vote Democrat. Okay. But lately, I hate to really say this, but Biden has been jumping up and down and talking all this nonsense about, the blood of patriots. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel about it because we all know the truth. I did a video on it not long ago. Biden is jealous of Thomas Jefferson. But the whole entire Democratic Party is jealous of those people who risked their lives, their fortunes, and lost their families just to break away from England. Now, these were men. These are very, very hard men. They're determined to be free, determined to get a country for themselves. And when they leave this planet, they pass it down to us. Now, I find it hard to believe that these politicians jump up and down, make mockery of these people. They laugh at them. And then you got Moms and Demands Actions and all these other anti-gun groups. All demand action. But yet they laugh at our founding fathers for what they did. In today's world, it's sad because so many people to this day give their lives for our protection because they follow the rules of what the Constitution says to defend our nation. What I don't get, though, is why. When Putin has never lost an election, I said that, right? But the thing here is, he never lost an election because everyone who's ran against him has either been broke financially, in prison, or murdered. When we listen to these politicians out here, they got the same attitude. It's like, we'll break him with all these goofy laws that can create anything we can create here. Then they turn around and they want to lock him up for 300 years. Or take away his security, his protection, not allow him to have a firearm, and he gets killed. Oh well. The Democrats want to pick a Republican they want, not what we want. It's kind of stupid, but that's how they think. They believe that MAGA is going to destroy democracy. Well, actually, we're a constitutional republic. But they consider us as white supremacists or bad boys, whatever you want to call this nonsense, right? What I find is very appalling in this point is that, the rhetoric of wanting to see the man killed is appalling to me. It should be appalling to you too. They speak of democracy so much. Our democracy is threatened by MAGA. Our democracy is threatened by these fools who believe that we're a constitutional republic. Well, democracy is just based on people voting at the polls. That's we the people. That's what democracy comes into play. But they believe that no, democracy works with us and we declare it as a majority rules. So they don't ask you and me about anything. But when we put people through the ringer of all this illegal nonsense and we violate the constitutional laws, we violate the Bill of Rights, we violate everything there is in this Constitution, and they call it democracy. They want to take the three branches of government and turn it into one branch of government. They call it democracy. They want to make the Supreme Court the highest court in the land, who's neutral, by the way, accountable. They don't mention themselves to be accountable, only the Supreme Court. That's democracy. They want to be able to dictate to you and strip you of your constitutional rights, and they call it democracy. What I find to all this is it's not democracy here. This is not democracy. But they're finding it more and more difficult and worrying that more and more people believe that we are a constitutional republic, which is what we are. That's what the Founding Fathers want us to be. Where our rights are governed by the God himself that put it here. Not man. So in technical terms, they want to play God here. They want to use the people to give them what they want. In other words, surrender your rights to us. Order and progress can only come to those who surrender those rights. That's what they want you to do. Order is to obey. Progress is to produce what we tell you to do, and you will obey us. Or we'll take your rights from you anyway. Biden's made it very, very clear that they are a tyrannical government. You want to take on a tyrannical government, you better buy F-18s, cruise missiles. This is democracy. Donald Trump's a threat. This is democracy. And I find it strange, how can it all be democracy? When you hold the man's head up in the air and bloody and everything, that's democracy. When we go after your First Amendment rights, well, that's democracy. What is democracy? People's right, people's choice. We, the people. There's two forms of government here. The people and the people they elect to represent them. But when these so-called representatives do not want to represent all of us, there's a problem. That's what the Commander-in-Chief does. When he goes abroad, he represents the American people. Not certain groups, not certain individuals, not certain people who put money in his accounts. He's supposed to represent all of us as a whole. And they don't want to do that. We are a threat to them. That's democracy. The right wing is made up of racist people. But I guess you forgot that there's Black American, Asian Americans, there's Latino Americans, Native Americans, Indian Americans, Asian Americans. There's all kinds of Americans, what they call the right. I call them American people. But they want to divide everybody up and blame everything on this man who did not really nothing. And that's democracy to them. When you put a man through all this court nonsense and threaten to lock him up and threaten anybody and their voters and her staff and the voters themselves, you threaten them, and they call this democracy? Any government who threatens, steals, or willing to use force to disarm its own people is not a government of the people, not a government for the people, not a government by all the people. A true government will not lie, cheat, steal, or go after its own opponent. That's a true government of the people, for the people, and by all the people. There won't be a civil war, it'll be a political war. With more threats to antagonize us, I guess. All because we believe what we believe in. But to them, that's wrong. You're supposed to believe what we tell you. We're Democrats. We're Rhino Republicans. We tell you there is no such thing as a constitutional republic. That's old. No. We're a democracy. We're the majority that rules. We vote the laws. We are the majority. You obey. So if we lock Mr. Trump up, or we lock your opponent up, because we created all these goofy narratives and laws and criminal activities and stuff like that, and we break the laws to create these laws to break the people, and we use our political judges in these political controlled democratic states to burn your opponent, something's wrong somewhere. Something's definitely wrong. People, you've got to really look through this. Because every time they talk about democracy, I'm trying to figure out what kind of democracy are we talking about here when you're willing to do everything that Russia does. What kind of democracy are we talking about here? There's a point to all this. They threaten to do bodily harm. They want bodily harm. So they secure themselves into this office any way they can. So I ask myself, well, what is democracy at this point? I bet you're asking the same question, right? It's not what the Founding Fathers wanted. We're a constitutional republic. We're a federal constitutional republic, by the way. But to today's Democrats, no, we're a democracy. And they'll stop at nothing to go after Donald Trump. They don't want him in there no matter what. They don't want to hear your voice on the floor no matter what. But it's democracy. Or is it Russian democracy that you're afraid that we may look? Till then, people, keep your friends and family close. Read into these people and understand what they're trying to pull here. There's two kinds of democracy. The people voting and their Russian democracy. You take care.